Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Sweet Lavender Knits podcast. My name is Christine and I'm coming to you from just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. You can find me on Instagram as sweet_lavender1 and on Ravelry as sweetlavender1. I'll put those both up on the screen for you. And I want to welcome all my new viewers as well as welcome and thank you for those that are returning to see yet another podcast. This podcast is mainly about knitting and some of the other crafts that I fancy as and when I do them. I want to get started today, but before all of that, I want to wish all the mothers out there who are watching a very happy Mother's Day. For my viewers, especially in the UK, I think you celebrated, I don't know where else, because we have Mother's Day in May. So anyways, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. You know, today is such a beautiful day from the inside because it's bright and the sun keeps coming out and then hiding behind the clouds as well. So you'll see the light changing a little bit, and I'm trying it today without that LED ring light because I think it's bright enough and I think it might work. We'll see. If it gets too dark, then I will add it on. But yeah, but it's a little chilly out there, and so I thought I would, we have the heat on in the house, so we don't really feel too much of it in the house, but it was enough for me to feel like I needed something around my neck. So what am I wearing? Let's go right into it. It is my very first shawl, or shawlette really, that I knit, and this is out of the Miss Babs yarn. I think I spoke about in it was a square in my Scrappy Squares blanket, and this is it. So it is a shawlette, and it is it's small, so it's about 12 inches in length, maybe a little bit more, and it has, whoops, I'm showing you the wrong side here. It's got a nice if I hold it back, maybe it's got a nice lace detail at the bottom, and yes, it is a free pattern. I forget her last name, and at the time I didn't even know what Ravelry was, so it was a few years ago that I knit this, maybe about 3-4 years ago, 4 years I think, because I've been on Ravelry for 3 years. I did open an account, but that was, I didn't do anything with it. It was just because it came across my something on Google, and I saw that there were patterns, but I didn't really look into it. So anyways, I'm wearing it like this for today. I hope, yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, and so it's just something to keep me warm across my neck. Okay. I don't want to look like I'm wearing a bib there. Okay. Yes, so it was a really nice pattern, and I thought, oh, I like lace, let me just do this. I didn't know anything about short row shaping. I just followed the pattern, and voila, I had this shawlette. And I was disappointed because I thought it was a lot longer, and I didn't really know what to do with a shawlette. So for a long time, like, I did my pictures for Instagram. I wore it, I believe it was an Easter Sunday, and after that it kind of just sat in my closet. So now I'm kind of getting back into it. I'm like, oh, okay, I could wear it like this. I need a shawl pin, that's what I need, and I think that'll go really well. Yes. So there's my, it's not a finished object or anything, it's just one of my knits, and I thought of wearing it today. All right, so moving on, what is going on this week? I will get to some of my knitting content a little bit later. I thought I'd do a different format. Want to thank all of you for responding to my you know, with your comments last week about the podcast format, and I had put it out there, you know, what would you like if you guys would be okay with some smaller episodes, or shorter episodes rather, and just more frequently, because I really feel like I like to sit down and have that knit night feel on a weekly basis maybe. So we'll see how it goes, because here I am trying it out a week later. So I don't have a lot of knitting content, but I do have some, and we'll see how it goes. But before that, I just remembered, okay, I had this sitting here last week as well, and I think, okay, I have a bad shoulder if you're wondering why I'm bending like that. Okay, and here is my orchid. So there are two things I am really enjoying in this stage of my life right now, well, besides, you know, family and all of that, is my crafts, and I love growing orchids. So I have a small collection, and I've never really spoken about this, but I've, you know, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen some of my pictures of my orchids. So this is one of my newer acquisitions that I've just brought in, maybe yeah, it was the Valentine weekend, and she is a beautiful orchid. I know you're not here for orchids, you're here for other things, but I thought I'd share it with you because really she is beautiful, and I love this orchid. And if you are curious, she's a Bollara, and she's called Tropic Lily. Yeah, so she was sitting here last week, and I totally forgot to say anything about it, because this room gets quite a bit of light, just dapple light, which is perfect for orchids. They don't like the direct sunlight. So yeah, she's been doing really well, and you can see now, about a month later, the lower flowers are starting to sort of go now, and yeah, anyway, she likes it in here, and she is here. All right, moving on. Yes, this is just a different kind of episode, so it's going to be a little bit of a chatty, rambly kind of episode as I see how things are. But this week is going to be a very busy week. The kids have started going into their March break, which is a week off of school, and it's just a little break in our winter. I think it's a really nice break for those who want to take a vacation. But going away, like, you know, flying anywhere during this time is extremely expensive. And usually, because of the fact that both my husband and I work, and my mom has been sort of like babysitting the kids since they were little, it's always worked out that we would keep a little mini vacation maybe towards the end of the week, and then that way we just take a couple of days, or maybe 2 to 3 days off, and then we go away somewhere. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're just going away for a couple of days, so we should be back on Sunday, so we'll see, or Saturday, so we'll see if I can, I'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll be up to it, but if I am, I'll do another podcast and update you on what if any yarn acquisitions there are. So yes, we're going to Pennsylvania, and I have been checking out online to see what yarn shops are around there. So if I get some time, we'll see. If I get some time, I might hop into one or two and see what I can find. Yes, so that's going to be happening later in this week. Yeah, so we'll be quite busy, but in the meantime, what happened is that over the last few days, I've kind of been in a lot of pain. I go for physiotherapy for my shoulder. I think I've mentioned that before. And what's been happening is that every time after the treatment, when I'm back home, or even like just after the treatment, I'm very, very sore. And then I'm sore for the next day as well. So the end of this week, I just could not do a lot of knitting, and that to say, I was having a little bit of a tough week health-wise, and I'm very, very sorry to Patricia, because your gift for the cowl is still here. I have not been able to go and get it out to the post office, so I apologize for that, and I will try this week again to try and get it out before I leave on my mini vacation. So I'm very, very sorry about that, Patricia, but I hope you will understand. That being said, that reminds me, we are having a March giveaway. And so if you are a new viewer, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers and those that have joined the Ravelry group. Did I mention that? We have a lovely group on Ravelry, which is the Sweet Lavender Knits group, and so go check it out, and if you feel like joining in, do post an entry into the welcome thread so we can you know, welcome you to the group. And you don't have to, but it's just a nice way to say hi to you. And I do ask that if you want to be part of this March giveaway, it's just my way of saying thank you to you, that you be a subscriber of my YouTube channel and also a member of the Ravelry group. And then the other thing you want to know is that there is a prompt which you want to answer in your entry, and that is, what does March inspire as far as your crafts, your knitting, or your what kind of projects March inspires for you. And I think I had thought about it a little bit when I worded it out in the Ravelry group thread that I opened, so you can read some of the details on there as well. So that is our March giveaway. So yes, if you are new and you do want to join in, please go ahead and join in. I guess we should get on to some knitting, right? Because you know, I wonder what you are knitting on right now. You know, when you sit down for a knit group and everyone's sitting around you, and as much as you like the conversation, I would think that you would like to know what they're knitting on. And you know, you might think, oh, maybe that's something I should try for my next project, or you know, down the road sometime, right? Yes, so I always wonder, while you're watching my podcast, what do you knit on? Like you know, maybe you can put it down in the comments what you were knitting on while watching my podcast, and I would really like to know that. I think that'll be interesting to me, and anyone else who's reading those comments, really. Okay, so starting off with my socks that I'm knitting on this week. I cast this on, I think it was just after the last episode, because I had recorded the episode on Saturday, and it was Saturday that I cast it on. And here is what I've knit so far, and it is in lovely, lovely yarn that I had a little falling out with my yarn winder, and so I hand wound this yarn, and it is from Craft House Magic by Ellie, and she has an Etsy shop. Do check it out. Actually, she's doing a collaboration with I forget who it is. It's called the Flower Power Fund, and she has these lovely bags out today. So there will be a donation from each of the proceeds of those bags for the Marie Curie fund. I hope I'm probably not saying that right, but I'll put her podcast link down below, as well as her Etsy shop, so that you can go check it out, and she'll have the details there. I got this yarn. This is my first purchase from Ellie's shop, and I have to say I am absolutely delighted to be knitting with it. It's lovely, lovely yarn, and it's beautiful. The color is beautiful. It's called Strawberry Fields Forever, and it's on her I don't know if she has a base, but it's 75% superwash merino and 25 nylon. And here is her logo. It's called Craft House Magic, and she does a lot of different crafts. So if you're looking for a variety of crafts in a podcast, definitely check out Ellie's. And she's based in the UK, if I didn't say that already. So coming back to the socks, this is what I'm knitting on. I'm just going to place it down here. It is I started off with a 1x1 ribbing this time, and this is like you know, design as you go kind of pattern. It's not any pattern that I'm using, but I thought I'd do a 1x1 rib, and I know I don't use it because I find the 2x2 a little sturdy, but I like the look of the 1x1. It looks nice, doesn't it? And I used the long tail cast on, but another cast on that I have tried and I like is the cable cast on, and it seems to be stretchy enough, and it doesn't give you that little, it's a little cleaner look. And you know, with the long tail cast on, I haven't figured out exactly how much I need, so it's always like a foot and a little bit more maybe of yarn, but with the cable cast on, I find that you can leave just the right amount of tail that you want and then go on, because you're not estimating how much you need. So that's just something to think about if you are trying out different cast-ons. And then the pattern, I don't know if you can see it too well, so let me try it like this. Oh, even that doesn't really show much. It's a little hard to see right now, but it's not as bad. I mean, you know, it's kind of blowing out when I do that, but here, there, a little bit of maybe because of the speckling in the yarn, it's not too visible, but it's pretty. Like when I open it out or put it in a sock blocker, which is what I should have done. Okay, next time, because I didn't bring it with me. The sock blockers are in the other room there. But this is what I've knit so far, and I'm ready for the heel right now. But just to show you where I got the pattern from, I have this, excuse me, sorry. I have this book. I don't have too many knitting books. I find that the books that I do have, I refer to them once in a while, but not as often as I would like to. So I just have a few there. You can see up in the corner there, and this is one of my favorite that I like going through. It's the 750 knitting stitches, and it's called the Ultimate Knit Stitch Bible. It's got like a whole bunch of patterns here, like, and all kinds. It's and it's very nicely, I'm not doing a good job explaining this. It's got let me see, different sections where there are knits and knit and purl stitches, cable and Aran stitches, lace and eyelet stitches, and color work, and then edgings and trims. So it's got some really nice ones there too. And actually this leaf motif is a favorite of mine. So I was just going through this for inspiration, not with the intention of doing anything about it, but just, you know, kind of leafing through the book, and I came across this pattern that I've looked at so many times and I really like it. It's called the diamond, this one right here, it's called the diamond lace, lace 1, and there might be another one, I think. And so that's the pattern that I'm using, and it is a very, and you know, I obviously had to modify it a little bit for knitting in the round, as well as inverting the stitches, so that, because this looks like you're knitting from the bottom up, and I'm knitting cuff down, so I inverted the stitches as well. So a little bit of manipulation there. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Yes, I'll try to take a picture of it maybe and put it up on the screen, because you can't really see it too well, but it is, okay, maybe I'll try to show it to you like this. Oh, I could wear it like a mitten. Okay, let's try that. Why didn't I think of that? Okay, there. Do you see that? And it's a very delicate stitch pattern, and I thought it goes very well with this yarn that looks so delicate. And to me, you know, when I saw the yarn, I was like, okay, it needs a lace pattern, but I wasn't mentally prepared to do a lace that required constantly looking at a chart. I wanted something to be as easy as, you know, train knitting. It's basically my train knitting, like I've mentioned many times. The socks are my train knitting. So yeah, that's my first work in progress, or what's on the go. And then the next thing I want to share with you is housed in this little bag that I have. It's a project bag, but it could also be like a pencil case or makeup bag maybe. And it's by, I'm not sure if I've shared this with you. I don't have too many bags. I probably did. It's by Knit Two Together, and it's an Etsy shop. She has an Etsy shop. It's Sue Trevor, and I don't know if Sue watches my podcast, but if you do, hi Sue. And this in here is housed my, I'm sorry, I'm losing things all over the place. Excuse me just a second. All right, there we go. And housed inside this project bag is my Selbu mittens, which I had to print out the pattern, because now I'm off. I'm done one chart and I'm on to the next, and I need to follow it carefully. So I got a little bit of knitting done earlier in the week, and like I said, like towards the end of the week I could not do a lot of knitting, and this needed my full concentration and holding yarn in both hands, because it's stranded colorwork. And so yes, I was hoping to have at least part way finished before I showed you, but that hasn't happened. So here, this is what I've done so far. It's Selbu mittens by Ellie from Skein Deer Knits, and let me show you. Because I have it printed, I could show it to you. It's these lovely mittens, and I really like them. You know what? It is quite friendly, beginner friendly. Like, it's not difficult. It's just managing the tension of the yarn in both hands. And I know there's been a lot of talk around different podcasts about color dominance, and you know, if there is dominance, color dominance, if there isn't, and what that is, and all of that. But just from a very simple perspective, from someone who has not done a lot of color work, I can tell you, I generally hold the main color in my hand that I knit with, like always hold my yarn in. And I am a flicker, so I hold my yarn in the right hand, my needles, my yarn, and I hold the contrast color in my left hand, and I hold it continental. So that's the way I do color work. And it was the first way that actually no, that's not true. The first way that I did do color work was to knit, drop, pick up the other yarn, put it over, and I found that my tension was not even even in doing that, because every time I dropped and picked up the next stitch, I would kind of pull it a little bit, so it was a little tight. Whereas when I held it on both hands, it moved a lot faster across the across the row, and it was a lot even tension. So for someone who's an expert, you might notice that there are tension problems here. I don't know, but for me, it's fine. It's okay. I've got my floats spaced out enough, so and here I can actually put it on, and I think it looks nice. Let me show you a little bit of the floats. Well, not a little bit. It's just I can show you what's there. I've tried to keep this floats as even as possible. There are some that are a little loose in the bottom, but try to keep it as even as possible. So yeah, and now I've just gone into the next chart where this space here is where the thumb gusset will grow, and yeah, it's a fun pattern to knit. I'm using Chiagu 4mm needles on a 40-inch cable. I don't think I need a 40-inch cable, but that's what I have, and these are not interchangeable, so yeah, that's what I have. I was using the knit picks before this, and I didn't have a long enough cable, and it drove me nuts. I'm used to the 40-inch because of magic loop with the socks, and it's fine. It works for me, so that's what I'm using. I forgot to mention with the sock pattern, I'm also using Chiagu needles, and my socks, I always do them on 2.25 millimeters, and usually a 40-inch cable. So that is something. That's the second thing I'm working on. Just a thing I want to point out. I know it's a paid for pattern, so I won't show much of it here, but I could not follow along the chart because the chart is pretty it's pretty, how do you say, like it's across the page, and my eyes started darting up and down, so I needed something as a guide to follow through. I was trying different things like post-it notes and things like that. It's just every time I put it away and then took it back out, the post-it note kind of started falling or moving around, and I wasn't sure. So what I did, and it's such a silly thing, and I'm sure you'll find better things to use, and I know that there are guides out there that you can use, that you can even purchase. I think from Knit Picks has a good one where you can chart. I think it's called a chart reader or chart tracker. But what I did is I used a piece of card that we got, some of the flyer or something, and I cut a slit into it, and I basically just slide the page through there, and then I just move it up. I have it lined up on the row that I'm reading, and then I keep moving it up as I need to, and it really works well. Yeah, so that's just something, I think there's a saying, necessity is the mother of invention, so just something that I had to do. Yeah, so that is what I've been doing. And oh, I forgot to mention my yarn for the Selbu mittens is blacker yarn, and it is British wool as well. And the colors that I'm using are lavender, and I forgot what this is. It's DK weight, and it's lavender and pebble. So, and it's the Falkland Islands wool from Blacker, and it's Blacker Swan. Yes, okay, so the other thing with color work that I use, and with a lot of my projects actually, when they have quite extensive row count and things like that, I use a row counter or a stitch marker. not stitch marker, row counter, and this is the one that I use. I just get it off of Amazon, and they're quite inexpensive. So yes, that is it. And I know that I've been rambling on for a little long, but hopefully I can do some editing and chop it down to a reasonable time. I wish you all a very happy knitting weekend or week. It's the end of the weekend, and yes, see you back here soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join that March giveaway if you haven't done so already. And thank you for all your lovely comments, and I will see you again next time. Happy knitting. Bye bye.